not expecting anyone here. However, it does make recording for YouTube a lot easier. I absolutely adore these books and this series, and Ruthless Creatures has to be my absolute favourite. So let's get stuck into it. I'm sorry, I just can't do this anymore. It's obvious that I'm the only one trying. The voice on the other end of the line is somber. I know Chris is telling me the truth. He really is sorry it isn't working out between us. But it's not a surprise. I knew this was coming. If only I could work up enough energy to care. If that were the case, however, we wouldn't be in this situation. Okay, I get it. I guess I'll see you around then. In the short pause that follows, he goes from sorry to annoyed. That's it. That's all you're gonna say. We've been dating for 2 months and all I get is see you around. He wants me to be upset, but I'm actually relieved. Though, of course, I can't say that out loud. Standing in my kitchen sink, I look at the open window to the small fenced yard beyond. Outside, it's bright and sunny, with a crisp sniff of fall in the air. A typical September day in Lake Tahoe. Perfect time of year to get married. For those of you coming in, hello. Welcome. If you stick around, thank you. If you're moving on, have an amazing night. I shove that unwelcome thought aside and refocus on the conversation. I don't know what else you want me to say. You're the one who's breaking up with me, remember? Yeah, and I would have thought you'd have more of a reaction than that. His tone turns dry. Guess I should have known better. Chris isn't a bad guy, but he's not short-tempered like the last guy I tried dating, or a wee picklinger like the one before. He's actually pretty great. I think I'll try to set him up with my girlfriend Maribeth. They'd make a cute couple. I just have a lot going on with work, that's all. I don't really have time to invest in a relationship. I know you understand. There's another pause, this one longer. You teach finger painting to 6th graders. I bristle at his tone. I teach art. Yeah, to a bunch of 12-year-olds. I'm not trying to be insulting, but your job isn't exactly high stress. Have an amazing evening, everyone. Scrolling through. I don't have it in me to argue with him, so I stay silent. He takes it as a cue to continue the frontal assault. My friends warned me about you. You know, they said I shouldn't date someone with your history. My history. That's a nice way of putting it. As the girl with the missing fiancé who vanished the day before their big church wedding 5 years ago. I don't have baggage, so much as cargo. It takes a certain kind of self-confidence to take me on. I hope we can be friends, Chris. I know I'm not perfect, but you need to move on with your life, Nat. I'm sorry, but it has to be said. You're living in the past. Everyone knows it. I know they do. I see the looks. King's Beach, a funky little beach town on the north shore of the lake. of about 4,000 people. Even after all these years, sometimes it feels as if every one of them is still saying a prayer for me at night. When I don't respond, Chris exhales. That came out wrong. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. It's fine. Listen, if it's alright with you, let's say goodbye now. I meant it when I said I'd like to stay friends. You're a good guy, no hard feelings, okay? After a moment, he says flatly, sure, no hard feelings. No feelings either way. I know that's your specialty, so take care, Nat. He disconnects, leaving me listening to the dead air. I sigh, closing my eyes. He's wrong about me. He's wrong about me not having feelings. I have all kinds of feelings. Anxiety, fatigue, low-level depression, and unshakable melancholy paired with gentle despair. See, I'm not the emotional iceberg I get accused of being. I hang the receiver back onto the cradle. On the wall. It intensely rings again. I hesitate, unsure if I want to answer or start binge drinking like I do every year on this day at this time, but decide I've got another 10 minutes or so to kill before I start the annual ritual. Hello. Did you know that cases of schizophrenia rose sharply around the turn of the 20th century, when domestic cat ownership became common? It's my best friend, Sloane. She has no interest of starting a conversation in the normal way, which is one of the many reasons I love her. What's your beef with cats anyway? It's pathological. They're furry little serial killers who can give you brain-eating amoebas from their poo. But that's not my point. What's your point? I'm thinking of getting a dog. Trying to picture fiercely independent Sloane with a dog, I glance over at Mojo, snoozing in a slice of sunlight on the floor in the living room. His black and tan shepherd mix, 100 pounds of love in a shaggy coat, with a tail like a plume that's constantly wagging. David and I rescued him when he was only a few months old. He's 7 now, but acts like he's 70. I've never seen a dog sleep so much. I think he's part sloth. You know you have to pick up their poop every day, right? And walk them and give them baths is like having a child. Exactly. It'll be good practice for when I have kids. Since when are you thinking of having kids? You can't even keep a plant alive. Since I saw this burning hunk of man at Sprouts this morning, my biological clock started gonging like a Big Ben. Tall, dark, handsome, and you know I'm a sucker for scruff. She sighs. He was epic. I smile at the mental image of her ogling a guy at a grocery store. That situation is usually the other way around. The yoga classes she teaches are always filled with hopeful single men. Epic scruff, I'd like to say that. It's like 5 o'clock shadow on steroids. He had this kind of piratey air. Is that a word? Anyway, he had that dangerous outlaw vibe going on. Total hottie. Raw. Hottie. Doesn't sound like anyone local. Must be a tourist. Sloane groans. I should have asked him if he needed someone to show him the sights. I laugh. The sights? Is that what you're calling your boobs now? Don't hate. There's a reason they're called assets. The girls have gotten me plenty of free drinks, you know. let's go down to Downriggers tonight. I can't, sorry. I have plans. I know what your plans are. It's time to change things up. Make a new tradition. Go out, get drunk instead of staying in. Exactly. I'll pass. Puking in public isn't a good look for me. She scoffs. I know for a fact you've never puked in your life. You have zero gag reflex. That's a very strange thing to know about me. There are no secrets here, babe. We've been best friends since before we had pubes. I say dryly. How touching. I can see the Hallmark card now. She ignores me. Also, I'm buying. That should appeal to your inner Scrooge. Are you trying to tell me I'm cheap? Exhibit A. You re-gifted me a $20 Outback steak gift certificate for Christmas last year. That was a joke. She's unconvinced. You're supposed to re-gift it to someone else. I've told you that. It's a thing. It's funny. Yes, if your frontal lobe was damaged in a terrible car accident, it's funny. For the rest of us with functioning brains, it's not. My sigh is big and dramatic. Fine. This year, I'll buy you a cashmere sweater. Satisfied? I'll pick you up in 15 minutes. No, I'm not going out tonight. She says firmly, I'm not letting you sit at home for another anniversary. For your rehearsal dinner that never was getting wasted. On the champagne you were supposed to have at your wedding reception. She leaves the rest unsaid, but it hangs heavily in the air between us anyway. Today marks 5 years since David went missing. Once a person has been missing for 5 years in the state of California, they're considered legally dead, even if they're still out there somewhere. For all intents and purposes, they're 6 feet underground. It's a milestone I've been dreading. I turn away from the window and its pretty, sunny scene. For a moment, I think of Chris. I remember the bitterness in his voice when he said, I'm living in the past. And how everyone knows it. Everyone, including me. I say softly, okay, pick me up in 15. Sloane whoops in excitement. I hang up before I can change my mind and go change into a skirt. If I'm going to get drunk in public, at least I'm going to look good doing it. Downriggers is a casual place, right on the lake, with a wraparound deck and spectacular views of the Sierra on one side and Lake Dave on the other. The sunset will be beautiful tonight. Already the sun is a fiery orange glow tipping low over the horizon. Sloane and I take a seat inside, next to a window, a spot that lets us see both the water and the bar, which is crowded with people, most of whom I know. After all, I've lived here my whole life. As soon as we're seated, Sloane leans across the table toward me and hisses, Look, it's him. I glance around confused. Him who? The pirate. He's sitting at the end of the bar. Epic scruff guy. I turn and crane my neck to see around the crowd. Which one? That's all I get out before I spot him, taking up a sizable portion of the bar and dwarfing the stool beneath him. The impressions come fast. Broad shoulders, tousled dark hair, a hard jaw that hasn't been acquainted with a razor in weeks, a black leather jacket paired with black jeans, and a pair of combat boots, all of which, somehow both expensive and battered, carelessly worn. Chunky silver rings decorate the thumb and middle fingers of his right hand. One is some kind of signet, the other is a skull. A pair of dark glasses hide his eyes. It strikes me as odd, wearing sunglasses indoors, like he's got something to hide. I'm not getting pirate as much as rockstar or head of a motorcycle gang. He looks like he steps right off the Sons of Anarchy set. $10, says he's a drug dealer. Who cares? Whispers Sloane, staring at him. He could be Jack the Ripper, and I'd still let him come all over my tits. I say with affection, Floozy. She waves that off. So, I like dangerous alpha males with big dick energy. Don't judge. Go make your move then. I'll get a drink and watch from the wings to make sure he doesn't pull out a knife. I motioned for the waiter. He gives me a chin jerk and a smile, indicating he'll be over as soon as he can. Sloane says, no, that's too desperate. I don't chase men, no matter how hot they are. It's undignified. Unless you're a cocker spaniel, the way you're panting and drooling is undignified. Go rope that stallion, cowgirl. I'm going to the restroom. I stand and head towards the women's bathroom, leaving Sloane, gnawing her lip in indecision. Or maybe that's lust. I take my sweet time using the toilet and washing my hands, checking my lipstick in the mirror over the sinks. It's scarlet red, called Sweet Poison. I'm not sure why I wore it, as I almost never wear makeup anymore. But I suppose it's not every day your missing fiancé becomes legally dead. So, what the hell? Oh, David, what happened to you? A sudden wave of despair crashes over me, leaning on the edge of the sink to steady myself. I close my eyes and blow out a slow, shaky breath. I haven't felt grief this strong in a while. Usually it's restless simmer I've learned to ignore. A dull ache behind the breastbone, a wail of anguish inside my skull that I can turn down until it's almost silent. Almost, but not quite. People say time heals all wounds, but those people are arseholes. Wounds like mine don't heal. People say time heals all wounds, but those people are arseholes. Wounds like mine don't heal. I've just learned to control the bleeding. Something smoothing my hand over my hair. I take several deep breaths until I feel more in control. I give myself a quick pep talk, plaster a smile on my face, then yank open the door and head out, and immediately crash into a huge immovable object. I jerk back, stumble, lose my balance. Before I can fall, a big hand reaches out and grips my upper arm to steady me. Careful. The voice is a pleasing, husky rumble. I look up to find myself staring at my own reflection in a pair of sunglasses. It's the pirate, the drug dealer, big dick energy dude with the epic scruff. A cackle of something like electricity runs down my spine. His shoulders are massive. He's massive. Sitting down, he looked big. But upright, he's a giant. He's got to be at least 6'4". 5'6". I don't know, but he's ridiculously tall. A Viking. I could never be described as petite, but this guy makes me feel positively dainty. He smells like the tasty notes of an expensive Cabernet. Leather, cigar smoke, a hint of forest floor. I'm sure my heart is beating so hard because I nearly just fell on my ass. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking where I was going. Why am I apologising? He's the one who was standing right outside the damn bathroom door. He doesn't respond. He doesn't let go of my arm either or crack a smile. We stand in silence, neither of us moving, until it becomes obvious that he has no intention of getting out of my way. I lift my brows and give him a look. Excuse me, please. He tilts his head, even without being able to see his eyes. I can tell how closely he's examining me. Just as it's about to get weird, he drops his hand from my arm. Without another word, he pushes through to the men's room door and disappears inside. Unnerved, I stand frowning at the closed door for a moment. Before heading back to Sloane, I find her with a glass of white wine in hand and another waiting for me. Your pirate just hit the restroom, I say, sliding into my chair. If you're fast, you can catch him on the way out for a quickie in the dark corner of the hallway before he takes you back to the Black Pearl for more ravishment. She takes a big swig of her wine. You mean ravishment? And he's not interested. How do you know? She pauses, purses her lips. He flat out told me. I'm shocked. This unprecedented. No. Yes, I sidled up to him with my best Jessica Rabbit sachet, stuck the girls in his face, and asked him if he'd like to buy me a drink. His response, not interested. And he didn't even look at me. Shaking my head, I take a sip of my wine. Well, it's settled. He's gay. My gaydar says he's straight as an arrow, babe, but thanks for the vote of support. Married, then? Pfft, not a chance. He is totally undomesticated. I think of the way he smelt when I crashed into him outside the restroom. The musk of pure sexual pheromones coming off him in waves. And decide she's probably right. The lion roaming in the Serengeti doesn't have a wife. He's too busy hunting for something to sink his fangs into. The waiter arrives to take our order. When he leaves, Sloane and I spend a few minutes chit-chatting about nothing of importance until she asks me how things are going with Chris. Oh, him. She gives me a disapproving stare. You didn't. Before you start pointing fingers, he broke up with me. I'm not sure if you realise this, but a man expects to eventually have sex with the woman he's dating. Don't be sarcastic. I can't help if my vag closed up shop. If you don't get a dig up in that hot pocket soon, it's gonna grow over. You'll never be able to have sex again. That's fine with me. My libido vanished, along with my fiancé. But I need to distract her before this conversation turns into a therapy session. It never would have worked out anyway. Hello, lovelies. I just saw that jump up. Thank you. My phone is like literally next to my face. She looks up appalled. Good riddance. Knowing that would change her tune, I smile. I'm thinking of setting him up with Maribeth. Your colleague, the one who dresses like she's Amish. She's not Amish. She's a school teacher. Does she teach butter churning and buggy maintenance? No. Science. But she's into quilting. She also has 5 cats. Shuddering. Sloane raises her glass in toast. It's a match made in heaven. I clink my glass against hers. May they have a long and hairball-filled future together. We drink. I guzzle my entire glass of wine, knowing Sloane is watching me as I do. When I set the empty glass back on the table and motion to the waiter for another round, she sighs. She reaches across the table, squeezes my hand. I love you, you know. Knowing where this is headed, I look out the windows towards the lake. I think all that kale you eat has warped your brain. I worry. You don't have to. I'm perfectly fine. You're not fine. You're surviving. There's a difference. And this is exactly why I should have stayed at home. My voice quiet. I stay. It took 2 years before I could drive a car without thinking. What if I didn't brake for this curve? What if I ran straight into a brick wall? Another year after that before I stopped Googling painless ways to commit suicide. Then another before I stopped randomly bursting into tears. It's only been the last few months I can walk into a room without automatically scanning it for his face. I live with the ghost of a man I thought I'd grow old with, the suffocating weight of questions that will never be answered, and the crushing guilt of knowing the last thing I ever said to him was, "If you're late, I'll kill you." I turn from the window and look at her. So all things considered, merely surviving is a win. Hi Claire, thank you for coming. Eyes shining, Sloane murmurs, "Oh honey." I swallow around the sudden lump in my throat. She squeezes my hand again, then says, "You know what we need? Electroshock therapy." Releasing my hand, she sits back in a chair, shaking her head. "You and your dark humour. I was gonna say guacamole. Are you paying because that guac here is $10 for 2 tablespoons and I've heard I'm cheap?" She smiles fondly at me. "It's among your many shortcomings, but perfect people are boring." "Okay, but I'm warning you right now. I haven't eaten since breakfast. Babe, I know you well enough to keep my hands at a safe distance when you're eating. Remember that time we shared a bowl of popcorn while we watched The Notebook? I almost lost a finger. I can't wait until we're old and you have dementia. This photographic memory of yours is the worst. Why am I gonna be the one with dementia? You're the one who refuses to eat a vegetable. I'm about to have some smashed avocados. Doesn't that count? An avocado is a fruit. Genius. It's green, isn't it? Yes. Then it's a veggie." Sloane shakes her head. "You're hopeless." So I agree. We share a smile. At that moment, I happen to glance over the opposite side of the restaurant. Sitting by himself at a table, his back to the window, a pint of beer in his hand, the stranger I bumped into outside the restroom stares at me. Because he removed his dark sunglasses this time, I can see his eyes. They're the deep, rich brown of Guinness stout, set wide beneath a stern brow and surrounded by the thickest of black lashes, focused on me with startling intensity. Those eyes don't move or blink, but oh, how darkly they burn. Chapter 2. Nat. Earth to Natalie. "Come in, Natalie." I rip the gaze from the oddly powerful trap of the stranger's eyes and turn my attention back to Sloane. She's looking at me with lifted brows. "What? Sorry, I didn't hear what you said." "Yes, I know, because you were too busy getting eye-fucked by the beautiful beast who crushed your best best friend's ego. Flustered, I scoff. There's not a man on earth who could crush your ego. It's made out of some material NASA uses on spaceships so they don't burn up on re-entry. Through the atmosphere, re-entry through the atmosphere. Twirling a lock of her dark hair, she smiles. So true. He's still staring at you, by the way. I scram in my chair. My ears are getting hot. I don't know. I'm not the type to be unsettled by a handsome face. Maybe I remind him of someone he doesn't like. Or maybe you're an idiot. I'm not, though. This wasn't a look of lust. It was more like I owe him money. The waiter returns with another round for us, and Sloane orders guac and chips. As soon as he's out of earshot, she sighs. Oh no, here comes Diane Myers. Diane, the town's gossip. She probably holds the world record for never shutting the fuck up. Having a conversation with her is like being subjected to water torture. It goes on and on in a constant, painful trip until eventually you crack and lose your mind. Without bothering to say hello, she pulls up an empty chair from the table behind us, sits down next to me, and leans in, engulfing me in the scent of lavender and mothballs. In a hushed voice, she says, "His name is Cage. Isn't that strange? Like a dog cage, but with a K." I don't know. I just think it's a very odd name. Unless you're in a band, of course. Or you're some kind of underground fighter. Whatever the case, in my day, a man had a respectable name like Robert, or William, or Eugene, or such. Who are we talking about? Interrupts Sloane, attempting to look nonchalant. Diane jerks her head a few times in the direction of where the stranger sits. Her shellacked grey curls quiver. Aquaman, she says in a stage whisper. Who? The man by the window who looks like the actor in the movie Aquaman. What's his name? The big brute who's married to the girl who was on the Cosby Show. I wonder what she'd do if I dumped my glass of wine over her hideous sperm. Shriek like a startled Pomeranian, probably. Picturing it is oddly satisfying. Meanwhile, she's still talking. Very, very odd that he paid cash, and the only people that keep that kind of cash handy are up to no good. Don't want the government to know their whereabouts. That kind of thing. What do they call it? Living off the grid? Yes, that's the expression. On the lam, living off the grid, hiding in plain sight. Whatever the case may be, we're going to have to keep a closer eye on this Cage person. A very, very close eye. Mind you, especially since he's living right next door to you, Natalie dear. Make sure you keep everything locked, up tight, and all the blinds drawn. One can never be too careful. I sit up straighter in my seat. Wait, what? He's living next door. She stares at me like I'm simple-minded. Haven't you been listening? He bought the house next to yours. I didn't know that house was on the market. It wasn't. According to the Sullivans, that Cage person knocked on their door one day recently and made them an offer they couldn't refuse. With a briefcase full of money, no less. Surprised, I look at Sloane, who pays for a house with a briefcase of cash. Diane clucks. You see, it's all exceedingly strange. When did they move out? I didn't even know they were gone. Diane purses her lips as she looks at me. Don't take this the wrong way, dear, but you do live in a bit of a bubble. One can't blame you for being distracted. Of course, with what you've been through. Pity. There's nothing worse. I glower at her, but before I can clap back with a smart remark about what I'm about to put her ugly perm through, Sloane interrupts. So the hot, rich stranger is going to be living right next door. Lucky bitch. Diane asks. Oh no, I wouldn't say lucky. I wouldn't say that at all. He has the look of a felon, you can't deny. And if anyone is a good judge of character, why, it's certainly me. You'll agree, I'm sure. You remember, of course, that it was who. Excuse me, ladies, the waiter interrupts. Bless him. He sets the bowl of guacamole on the table, puts a basket of tortilla chips beside it, and smiles. Are you just having drinks and appetizers tonight, or would you like me to bring you the dinner menus? I'll be drinking my dinner, thank you. Sloane sends me a sour glance, then says to the waiter, We'd like menus, please. I add, and another round. Sure thing, be right back. The second he leaves, Diane starts right up again, turning eagerly to me. Would you like me to call the police chief to see you about having a patrol car come by at night to check on you? I hate the thought of you all alone and vulnerable in that house. So tragic what happened to you, poor thing. She pats my head. I want to punch her in the throat. And now, with this unsavory element moving into the neighborhood, you really should be looked after. It's the least I can do. Your parents were dear friends before they retired to Arizona because of your father's health. The altitude in our little spot of heaven can be difficult as we get older. 6,000 feet above sea level isn't for the faint of heart, and God knows it's dry as a bone. No, Diane, I don't want you to call the police to babysit me. She looks affronted by my tone. There's no need to get huffy, dear. I'm simply trying to get all up in my business. I know. Thank you. Hard pass. She turns to Sloane for support, which she doesn't find. Nat's got a big dog and an even bigger gun. She'll be fine. Scandalized, Diane turns back to me. You keep a gun in that house? My goodness, what if you accidentally shot yourself? Looking at her, I deadpan. I should be so lucky, Sloane says. Actually, since you're here, Diane, maybe you could weigh in on the discussion Nat we're having when you came over. We'd love to get your insight on the topic. Diane preens, patting her hair. Why, of course, as you know, I have quite the broad array of knowledge on various issues. Ask away. This should be good. I sip my wine, trying not to smile. With a straight face, Sloane says, Anal, yes or no? There's a frozen pause. Then Diane chirps, Oh, look, there's Margie Howland. I haven't seen her in ages. I should say hello. She rises and hurries off with a breathless, Bye now. Watching her go, I say dryly, You know that within 24 hours the entire town will think we were sitting here discussing the pros and cons of anal sex, right? Nobody listens to that crusty old bat. She's best friends with the school administrator. What, you think you'll get fired for loose morals? You're practically a nun. Exaggerate much? No, you've dated 3 guys in the past 5 years, none of whom you've had sex with. At least if you were a nun, you'd get to have sex with Jesus. I don't think that's how it works. Also, I have plenty of sex with myself and my battery-operated friends. Relationships are just too complicated. I hardly think your short, sexless, emotionless entanglements can be called relationships. You have to fuck a guy for it to qualify, and maybe, like I shrug. If I found one I liked, I would. She gazes at me, knowing my problem with men has less to do with not meeting someone I connect with and more to do with not being able to connect with anyone at all. But she cuts me a break and moves on. Speaking of fucking, your new neighbour is over there looking at you like you're his next meal. Literally. And not in the good way. He makes great white sharks seem friendly. Don't be so negative. Damn, he's smoking hot. Don't you think? I resist the surprisingly strong urge to turn and look in the direction Sloane is looking and take another sip of my wine instead. He's not my type. Babe, that man is every woman's type. Don't try to lie to me and get me and tell me you can't hear your ovaries moaning. Give me a minute to breathe. I got dumped only half an hour ago. She snorts. Yeah, and she seemed really broken up about it. Next excuse. Remind me why you're my best friend again. Because I'm awesome, obviously. Jury's still out. Look, why don't you just be a good neighbour and go over and introduce yourself, then invite him over for a tour of your house, specifically your bedroom, where the three of us will explore our sexual fantasies while covered in Astroglide and listening to Lenny Kravitz sing Let Love Rule. Oh, you're going blind for me now. Not for you, nitwit. For him. I'm going to need a lot more wine before I start entertaining the idea of a threesome. Well, think about it. And if everything works out, we could make it long term and be a throwball. What the hell is a throwball? Same thing as a couple, but with 3 people instead of 2. I stare at her. Please tell me you're joking. Sloane smiles, scooping guac onto a chip. I'm not, but that look on your face is almost as priceless as Diane's. The waiter returns with menus and more Chardonnay. An hour later, we've demolished 2 shrimp enchilada platters and as many bottles of wine. Sloane burps discreetly behind her hand. I think we should cab it home. Babe, I'm too buzzed to drive. I agree. By the way, I'm spending the night. You weren't invited. I'm not letting you wake up alone tomorrow. I won't be alone. Mojo will be with me. She motions to the waiter for our check. Unless you leave with your hot new neighbour, you're stuck with me, sis. It was an offhand remark made because she obviously knows I have no intention of leaving with the mysterious, vaguely hostile Cage. But the thought of Sloane hovering over me in worry all day tomorrow to make sure I don't slip my wrists on the anniversary of my non-wedding is so depressing it cuts straight through my buzz like a bucket of cold water poured over my head. I glance over at his table. He's on his cell phone, not talking, just listening, every so often nodding. He glances up and catches me looking. Our eyes lock. My heart jumps into my throat. A strange and unfamiliar combination of excitement, tension, and fear makes a flush of hate creep up my neck. Sloane's right. You should be friendly. You're going to be neighbours. Whatever his problem is, it can't be about you. Don't take everything so personally. The bald guy probably just had a bad day. Still looking at me, he murmurs something into his phone and hangs up. I say to Sloane, be right back. I stand, cross the restaurant, and walk right up to his table. Hi, I'm Natalie. May I join you? I don't wait for his answer before I sit down. Silent, he gazes steadily at me with those dark, unreadable eyes. My girlfriend and I have had a little too much wine, and we can't safely drive home. Normally, this wouldn't be a problem. We'd take a cab and pick up at her car tomorrow. She just told me that unless I leave here with you, she's spending the night at my house. Now, there's a whole long story about why I don't want that to happen, but I won't bore you with the details. And before you ask, no, I don't usually demand rides from total strangers, but I was told that you bought the place next door to me, up on Steelhead. So I thought I'd kill two birds, one stone, and ask you for a favour of a ride home, since it won't be out of your way. His gaze drops to my mouth. A muscle in his jaw flexes. He says nothing. Oh no, he thinks I'm hitting on him. Feeling hideously self-conscious, I add, I swear this isn't a pick-up line. I really am only looking for a ride home. Also, welcome to town. He debates with himself about something for a moment while I sit watching him with my heart pounding, knowing I've made a terrible mistake. When he finally speaks, his voice is low and rough. Sorry, princess, if you're looking for a knight in shining armour, you're looking in the wrong fucking place. He stands abruptly, bumping the table, and strides away, leaving me sitting alone with only my burning humiliation for company. Alrighty then, guess I won't be popping over in the future to borrow a cup of sugar. Cheeks hot, I head back to our table. Sloane gapes at me in disbelief. What just happened? I asked him if he'd take me home. She blinks slowly. When she recovers from her astonishment, she says, And he made it clear that he'd rather have his stick slammed into a car door. Are we ready to go? She rises, gathering her purse from where it's hanging on the back of her chair and shaking her head. Wow, he turned us both down. You could be right about him being married. As we head for the front door, she adds thoughtfully, maybe he's just shy, or maybe he'll turn out to be a serial killer and put me out of my misery. Probably not, though. I don't have that kind of luck. Sorry, I forgot to turn my computer off and it fired up. Okay, chapter 3. We finally get to dig into Cage. I am so freaking excited. So, keeping in mind, I've read this before and I love this book. Absolutely love it. Okay, here we go. It shouldn't make a difference that she's stunning, but it does. She's so extravagantly beautiful, I almost laughed out loud when I saw her. I was ready for anything but that. It surprised me. I hate surprises. Usually when I'm taken off guard, someone starts to bleed. But now I know, the next time I see her, I'll be prepared. I won't let that face, or those legs, or those incredible eyes distract me from what I came here to do. Or that hair, either. I've never seen hair so glossy and black. It's something from a fairy tale. I wanted to plunge my hands into that thick, shining mass of waves and pull her head back and... Fuck. I know better than to mix business with pleasure. I just need to focus and do what I came here to do. If only she weren't so goddamn beautiful. I don't like to break beautiful things. Hello, beautiful rage. I can see the screen from time to time, but it's like quite literally next to my face, so I'm sorry if I miss anything. I wake up in the morning with a throbbing headache and Mojo snoring on my face. By the way, we're on chapter 4. If you can't see it. Jeez, dog, I mumble, poking at his furry chest. Could you keep it down? Mummy's hungover. His response is to grumble, burrow deeper into the pillows, and release a fart that might peel the paint off the walls. I roll to my back and heave a sigh, wondering if I did something terrible in a former life. can say hello. Sloane is jabbering in my ear. I've figured it out. He's a widower. What? Who? Don't be tense. You know who? The stud who turned down the two hottest babes on the west coast because, she pauses for dramatic offence, he's in mourning. In Sloane's world, the only legit reason a guy isn't interested in her is if he's gay, married, brain damaged, or his wife died recently. Very recently, like within the week. I also think she secretly believes that given enough exposure to her charms, a man in any one of those situations will come around anyway. I wish I had that kind of confidence to run my tongue over my fairy teeth and pray for a fairy godmother to materialise and bring me water and aspirin with a chaser of beer. Why are you calling me so early, you heartless witch? She laughs. It's not early, it's 10 o'clock. I've already taught 2 yoga classes, had breakfast, reorganised my closet, and you promised you'd call by now. Remember? I don't, but that's probably due to all the white wine at dinner and all the red wine after I got home. Thank God I didn't get into the bourbon. Yet, I've still got the whole day ahead of me. Why did I promise I'd call you? There's a loaded pause. We're taking your dress to second wind. Oh God. Whimpering, I throw an arm over my face and close my eyes as if that will help me hide. She says firmly, don't even think about coming up with an excuse. We're putting your wedding gown on consignment. No, today. You have to get that thing out of the house. It's haunted you long enough. I'd accuse her of being too dramatic, but haunted is the right word. I'm so sorry about that car. The damn thing appears in my dreams, rattling chains and groaning. I can't walk past the closet where it's stored without getting chills. It's taken on otherworldly presence, and not an entirely friendly one. Okay, my voice drops, but what if? Please don't say it. I sit in silence for a moment until she relents. If David ever comes back, you'll buy another dress. I bite my lip. Hard. Having a friend who knows you so well is both a blessing and a big fat curse. When I stay quiet too long, she gets nervous. Look, the one you have now is bad juju. It's got too much negative energy attached to it. So many painful memories. If you need another dress in the future, you buy a fresh one. You don't keep the one that makes you cry every time you look at it, right? I hesitate. She repeats loudly. Right. I blow out a hard breath, so hard my lips flap. Fine. Yes, you're right. Of course I am. Now take a shower, get dressed, put some food in your stomach. I'll be over in an hour. I mutter. Yes, mother. Don't sass me, young lady, or you're grounded. Huh? And I'll take away all your electronic devices, she sniggers, especially the vibrating ones. I say without heat. You're a terrible friend. You'll thank me later. You probably can't even have an orgasm with a real penis anymore because you've been hammering your vagina with those power tools. Your cooch is a construction zone. I'm hanging up now. Don't forget to eat. I disconnect the call without replying. We both know I've been eating a liquid breakfast this morning. 5 years. How I've survived this long, I don't know. I drag myself out of bed, take a shower, and get dressed. When I head to the kitchen, I find Mojo lying like a big shaggy rug in front of the refrigerator, smiling in my direction. Do you need goes, buddy? He pants and thumps his tail, but doesn't move, indicating his preference. The dog has a bladder the size of an above-ground swimming pool. If he wasn't so solid, I'd think he has a hollow leg or two where he stores his pee. Breakfast it is, after I've fed him and taken him out to the backyard for a potty break and a frolic through the bushes to chase squirrels. We head back inside. He takes his usual spot on the living room rug and promptly falls asleep, while I arm myself with a light on the OJ mimosa. I can't do it. I can't do what I'm about to do without liqueur. The idea came to me while I was in the backyard watching Mojo piss on a shrub. It's stupid, I know, but if today's the last day I'll have my wedding dress, I need to try it on one last time. A final goodbye of sorts, a symbolic step into my future. I almost hope it doesn't fit anymore. Raising ghosts from their graves can be dangerous. My hands don't start to shake until I'm standing outside the closed closet door in the guest room. Okay, Nat, man up, woman up, whatever. Just inhale a deep breath, get your shit together. You have to be calm by the time Sloane gets here. Or she'll flip out. Ignoring how strange it is that I'm talking to myself out loud, I take a big gulp of mimosa, set the champagne flute on the dresser, and gently open the closet doors. And there it is, the puffy black garment bag that contains the memorial of all my lost dreams. It's a sarcophagus, a zippered nylon tomb, and inside is my funeral shroud. Wow, that's dark. Drink up, Debbie Downer. I guzzle the rest of the mimosa. It takes me another few minutes. Of pacing and wringing my hands before I work up the nerve to unzip the garment bag. When I do, the contents spill out with a sigh. I stare at it, tears pull in my eyes. It's beautiful, this stupid cursed dress. It's a gorgeous custom-fitted cloud of silk and lace and seed pearls, the most expensive garment I've ever owned, the most loved and hated. I quickly strip down to only my panties, then take the dress off its hanger and step inside the full skirt, pulling it up over my hips. I try to ignore how fast my heart is beating. I slip the halter straps over my head, then reach around behind me to zip the whole thing up. When I walk slowly to the floor-length mirror on the opposite side of the room, I stare at myself. The gown is sleeveless. The gown is a sleeveless halter style with a plunging neckline, an open back, and a cinched waist. It's all overlaid with lace and decorated with tiny pearls and crystals. The princess skirt has a train embellished to match. The long veil hangs in the closet in its own bag, but I'm not brave enough to put the entire outfit together. Just getting the dress on is traumatic enough. So is the jarring fact that it doesn't fit. Frowning, I pinch a few inches of the loose fabric around the waist. I've lost weight since I last had it on, at the final fitting 2 weeks before the wedding. I've never been curvy to begin with. It's only now that I realise I'm too thin. David wouldn't have approved of this body. He was always encouraging me to eat more and work out more and look more like Sloane. I'd forgotten how much that hurt my feelings until right now. I turned slowly left and right, lost in memories and mesmerised by how the crystals catch the light and and sparkle until the sound of the doorbell jolts me out of my daze. It's Sloane. She's early. My first instinct is to tear off the dress and stuff it guiltily into the closet. But then it occurs to me that seeing me in it and seeing me calm is the best way to reassure her that I'm fine. That she doesn't have to be so vigilant about watching over me. I mean, if I can handle this, I can probably handle anything, right? I shout towards the front door, come in, then stand calmly in front of the mirror and wait. The front door opens and closes. Footsteps echo through the living room, then stop. I'm back here. The footsteps start again. Sloane must be wearing boots, because it sounds like a moose is clumping through my house. I smooth my hands down the bodice of the dress, expecting to see Sloane pop her head through the door. But the head that appears is Nerds, gasping a swirl around and staring horror at Gage. He dwarfs the doorway. He's in all black again, leather and denim combat boots to match. In his big hands is a package, a brown box sealed with tape. On his face is a look of open astonishment. Lips parted, he stares at me. His heated gaze rakes up and down my body. He exhales in an audible huff. Feeling like I've been caught masturbating spread eagle on the kitchen floor, I cover my chest with my arms and cry, "What the hell are you doing in here? You told me to come in." God, that voice, that rich, husky baritone. If I weren't horrified, I might think it was hot. I thought you were someone else. His unblinking gaze rakes over me again, head to toe, as focused and intense as a laser. He moistens his lips. Hi Carly, you got lucky and I looked up. We're reading Ruthless Creatures. It's one of my favourites. I am a dark romance, enemies to lovers, mafia type girl, and this one I just think is the perfect introduction. It's one of my tamest ones. It was this or Psychotic Obsession, so I thought we'd just go with this one. But welcome in, beautiful. Okay, for some reason I find that simple gesture both sexy and menacing. His voice drops to a growl. You getting married? It could be the embarrassment, the surprise, or the fact that this man was so rude to me last night, but all at once I'm furious, my voice shaking and my face red. I take a step toward him. None of your business. What are you doing here? For some reason, my anger amuses him. A hint of a smile crosses his lips. There, then quickly vanished. He gestures to the box in his hands. UPS left this on my porch. It's addressed to you. Oh, now I'm even more flustered. He's being a friendly neighbour. Judging by his performance last night, I would have expected him to set the box on fire and kick it over the back fence, not hand deliver it. My bubble of anger deflates. Okay, thanks. You can just leave it on the dresser. When he doesn't move and only stands there staring at me, I fold my arms over my chest and stare right back. After a moment of blistering awkwardness, Gage flicks a dismissive hand at my dress. It doesn't suit you. I feel my eyes bulging, but don't care. Excuse me. Too fussy. He's lucky I'm not wearing the veil, because I would wrap it around his neck and strangle him with it. For future reference, if you see a woman wearing a wedding dress, the only acceptable thing to tell her is that she looks beautiful. You are beautiful, comes the hard reply. But it has nothing to do with that fussy fucking dress. After that, he snaps his jaw shut. I get the distinct feeling he's regretting his words. see the pinned comment. Give me 1 second. Oh, you've put the title in. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you. Then he stomps over to the dresser, tosses the box on top, and stomps out, leaving me open-mouthed in shock, my heart palpitating. When the front door slams shut, I'm still standing there, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. A few moments later, I hear an odd noise. It's a repetitive sound, a muffled whomp whomp, like someone beating out a dirty rug with a broom. I go to the window and look out, trying to identify where the sound is coming from. That's when I spot him. The street I live on is sloped, climbing several feet from the lot to the next. The elevation allows for a view into the neighbouring yard, so that from where I'm standing, I can see over the fence of the house next door. I also have a clear view of the living room window. The drapes are usually drawn, but now they're open. In the middle of the room is a punching bag hanging from a heavy metal frame, the kind boxers use to train on. It appears to be the only furniture. Throwing vicious punches at the bag is a bare-fisted Cage. He's taken off his shirt. I stand frozen on the spot, watching him hit the bag over and over, watching him jab and dance, watching all the muscles of his upper body ripple, watching his tattoos move and flex with every blow. He's covered in them, chest and back and all down both arms. Only his abs are bare of ink, a fact I'm grateful for because it allows a clear view of his taut, muscled belly. That he works out religiously is obvious. He's in incredible physical shape. Also obvious that he's in a rage about something and is taking it out on the poor piece of gym equipment. Unless something happened in the last 60 seconds since he walked out my door, whatever he's enraged about has to do with me. Oh, I want another Cage chapter. I like his chapters. He throws one final punch at the bag, then steps back and lets out a roar of frustration. He stands there, chest heaving, flexing his hands, open and closed, until he happens to turn and glance at the window. Our eyes lock. I've never seen a look like this. There's so much darkness in his eyes, it's frightening. I suck in a breath and take an involuntary step back. My hand rises in my throat. We stay like that, gazes locked, neither of us moving, until he breaks the spell by stalking over to the window and yanking the draperies shut. When Sloane arrives 20 minutes later, I'm still rooted at the same spot, staring at Cage's blank living room window, listening to the whom whom whum of his punishing fists. I really, really like his chapters. Thank you for the follow, Diane. Okay, let's see who chapter 6 is. Oh, this is a big chapter. question. Okay, chapter 5, Nap. I told you he was a widower. It's the only logical explanation. Sloane and I are at lunch. We've already dropped the gown at the consignment place. Now we're hunched over our salads, replaying my encounter with Cage and trying to get it to make sense. So you think he saw me in the dress and flipped out? She finishes. Ooh. Nodding, I reminded him of his dead wife. Shit, this must be recent. Munching on a mouthful of lettuce. She mulls it over for a moment. That's probably why he moved to town. Wherever he was living before reminded him too much of her. God, I wonder how she died. Probably an accident. He's young. What do you think? Early 30s. To mid at the most. They might not have been married very long. She makes a sound of sympathy. Poor guy, it doesn't seem like he's taking it well. I feel a twinge of dismay at the way I treated him this morning. I was so embarrassed to be caught in my wedding dress, and so surprised to see him instead of Sloane. I'm afraid I was a bit of a bitch. So what was in the box he brought over? Painting supplies, oils and brushes. The weird thing is that I don't remember ordering them. Sloane looks at me with a combination of sympathy and hope. But does this mean you're working on a new piece? Avoiding her searching eyes, I pick up my salad. I don't want to jinx it by talking about it. More like, I don't want to make up a lie. But if I tell her that I'm still not painting, but I somehow ordered myself art supplies without remembering I did, she'll drive me straight from lunch to the therapist's office. Maybe Diane Myers was right. I'm living in a bubble, a big fuzzy bubble of denial that's disconnected me from the world. I'm slowly but surely losing touch with real life. Sloane says, "Oh, babe, I'm so glad. This is great forward progress." When I glance up, she's beaming at me. Now I feel like an asshole. I'll have to slap some paint on an empty canvas when I get home, just so I'm not consumed by guilt. And you did so well at the consignment shop too. Not a tear in sight. I'm very proud. Does this mean I can order another glass of wine? You're a big girl. You can do whatever you want. Good, because it's still the day that will not be mentioned, and I'm hoping to be blacked out by 4 o'clock. The time I was supposed to be walking down the aisle on this day 5 years ago. Thank God it's a Saturday, or I'd have a lot of explaining to do when I toppled over reeking of booze in the middle of a teaching class. Sloane is distracted from whatever disapproving statement she was about to say by a cell phone chirping. A text has come through. She digs her phone out of her bag. Looks at it and grins. "Oh yeah, big boy." Then she looks up at me and her face falls. She shakes her head and starts to type. I'll tell him we need to reschedule. Him who? Reschedule what? It's Stavros. We're supposed to be going out tonight. I forgot. Stavros. You're dating a Greek shipping tycoon. She stops typing and rolls her eyes. No, girl. He's the hottie I've been telling you about. When I stare at her blankly, she insists. The one who showed up at my yoga class in a tight grey sweatpants with no underwear on, so everyone could see a perfect outline of his dick. I arch an eyebrow. Sure, I would have remembered that. Oh, come on. I've told you all about him. He's got a place right on the lake. 300 feet of private beach. The tech guy. Any of this ringing a bell? 0 bells are ringing. But I nod anyway. Right, Stavros, grey sweatpants. I remember. she sighs. You so don't. We stare at each other across the table until I say, how early does early onset Alzheimer's kick in? Not this early. You're not even 30 yet. Maybe it's a brain tumour. It's not a brain tumour. You're just kind of, she winces, not wanting to hurt my feelings. Checked out. So Diane the blubbermouth was right. Groaning, I propped my elbows on the table and dropped my head into my hands. I'm sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. You endured a major trauma. You're still getting over it. There's no correct timetable for grief. I look over and I just see your little emojis, Claire. If only there was a body, I could move on. I'm so ashamed by that thought. My face burns, but the ugly truth is, there is no moving on. The worst thing about a missing person who's never found is that those they leave behind can't really mourn. They're stuck in a perpetual twilight of unknowing, unable to get closure, unable to properly grieve. They exist in a kind of numb limbo, like perennials in winter, lying dormant under the frozen ground. It's like the unanswered questions that get you, the terrible what-ifs that gnaw at your soul with hungry teeth at night. If he's dead, is he dead? If so, how did it happen? Did he suffer? For how long? Did he join a cult, get abducted, start a new life somewhere else? Is he alone out in the woods, living off the land? Did he hit his head and forget his identity? Is he ever coming back? The list is endless, a one-sided, open-ended Q&A that repeats on loop every waking hour. Except you're only talking to yourself, and the answers never come. For people like me, there are no answers. There is only life in suspended animation. There is only the slow and steady calcification of your heart. But I'll be damned if I let my best friend calcify with me. I raise my head and say firmly, you're going on that date with grey sweatpants. Nat, no. There's no reason both of us should be miserable. End of discussion. She gazes at me with narrowed eyes for a moment until she sighs and shakes her head. I don't like this. Tough. Now text your boy Toy that your date is on and finish your lunch. I make a show of polishing off my salad as if I've got the appetite of a farm animal, because Sloane's like a grandmother. It always makes her feel better when she sees me eat. Watching me, she says dryly, I know what you're doing. I answer through a mouthful of salad. I have no idea what you mean. Looking out heavenward, she draws a slow breath. Then she deletes whatever she had been typing on her call and starts over. She sends the message and drops her phone back into her purse. Happy? Yes, and I want a full report in the morning. Sounding like the head of the Gestapo, she demands, what are you going to do tonight if you're not with me? I think fast. Treat myself to dinner at Michael's. Michael's is a small, upscale casino on the Nevada side of the lake, where wealthy tourists go to gamble and blow their money. The steakhouse sits above the casino floor, so you can look down on everyone playing craps and blackjack, while you stuff your face with overpriced Philip Monet. I can't really afford it on my salary, but the minute it's out of my mouth, I'm looking forward to it. If watching me eat makes Sloane feel better, for me, it's watching other people make bad decisions. She says, alone. The only people who eat alone are psychopaths. Thanks for that. Any other little gems of encouragement you'd like to share? She purses her lips in disapproval, but stays silent, so I know I'm off the hook. Now I just have to figure out what to wear. My When I walk into Michael's at 6 o'clock, I've already got a pleasant buzz going. I took a cab over so I wouldn't have to drive, because my plan for this evening is to order the most expensive bottle of champagne on the menu. Screw it, I'll put it on the credit card and get properly shit-faced. Without the wedding dress in the house, I feel lighter, like I've let go of something heavy I've been holding on to for far too long. I dug around in the back of my closet and pulled out another dress I never wear, but one that doesn't have so much baggage attached to it. It's red, silk body skimming sheath that manages to flatter my figure without looking like it's trying too hard. I've paired it with strappy gold heels, an armful of slim gold bangles, and a sloppy updo for what I hope is a sort of boho chic look. A swipe of sweet poison on my lips completes the look. Who knows, maybe I'll hit it off with someone I meet at the bar. I laugh at the thought because it's so ridiculous. The matriarch seats me at a nice table in the corner of the room. There's an enormous fish tank behind me, and the casino floor below me on the right. I've got a clear view of the rest of the restaurant too, which is mostly populated of older couples and a few young people who look like they're on their first dates. I order champagne and settle into my chair, satisfied that this was a good idea. I can't be as morose in public as I'd be at home, sharing mac and cheese with Mojo and weeping over my old engagement photos. I'm satisfied for all of 2 minutes before I see him sitting across the restaurant alone at a table, smoking a cigar and nursing a glass of whiskey. I mutter, "You've got to be kidding me." As if he heard me speak, Gage looks up and catches my eye. Whoa, that was my stomach dropping. I send him a tight smile and look away, squirming. I wish I knew why making eye contact with the man feels so visceral. It's like every time I meet his gaze, he's reaching into my stomach to squeeze my guts in. His big fist. I neglected to tell Sloane about his comment, the "you are beautiful," one that I've been trying not to think about all day. Oh my god, my tummy. The one accompanied by grief, tone and voice, that look in his eye that I'm quickly becoming familiar with, that strange mix of intensity and hostility, warmed with what I think was curiosity if I didn't know better. I busy myself with staring down at the casino floor until the matriarch returns, smiling. "Miss, the gentleman at the table against the wall requests that you join him for dinner." He gestures to where Gage sits, watching me like a hunter peering at a doe through the sights of a rifle. My heart thumping. I know I love Gage. My heart thumping. I hesitate, unsure what to do. It would be rude to refuse, but I hardly know the man. What do I do now? What do I know of him is confusing, to say the least. And tonight, why did I have to run into him again tonight? The major smiles wider. Yes, he said he'd be reluctant, but he promises to be on his best behaviour. His best behaviour? What would that look like? Before I can imagine it, the major is helping me out of my chair and leading me by the elbow across the restaurant. Apparently, I don't have a choice in the matter. We arrive at Gage's tableside. I'm surprised to find him standing. He doesn't seem like someone who'd bother with such formalities. The matriarch pulls out the chair opposite his, bows even, and retreats, leaving me standing there awkwardly as Gage stares at me with burning eyes. "Please sit." It's the please that finally does it. I sink into the chair, swallowing because my mouth is suddenly so dry. He sits also. After a moment he says, "That dress." I glance up at him, bracing myself for another insult about my fuzzy wedding gown, but he's gazing with lowered lids at the dress I'm currently wearing. He probably thinks this one is hideous too. Self-conscious. I need to maybe just read. Self-conscious, I fiddle with the spaghetti straps. It's old, simple. His dark eyes flash up to meet mine. He says hotly, "Simple is better on you. Perfection doesn't need any embellishment." It's a good thing I'm not holding a glass, because I'd drop it. Stunned, I stare at him. He stares right back, looking like he'd punch himself in the face. It's obvious he doesn't like it when he gives me compliments. Also obvious that he never intends to. They just come out. Less obvious is why he gets angry with himself when it happens. My cheek's burning, I say. "Thank you. That's probably the nicest compliment I've ever been given." He grinds his molars for a while, then takes a long swig of his whiskey. He sets the glass back down on the tabletop with such force I jump. He's regretting the invitation. Time to let him off the hook. It was very nice of you to invite me over, but I can see you'd rather be alone. So thanks for stay. It comes out but a barked command. When I blink, startled, he softens with a murmured, "Please." "Okay, but only if you take your meds," he murmurs to himself. "She's funny, too. How inconvenient." Inconvenient for who? He simply gazes at me without answering. What is it with this guy? The matron returns, holding the bottle of champagne I ordered along with 2 flutes. Thank God I was just about to start gnawing on my arm. I can't remember the last time I was this uncomfortable. Oh wait, sure again. It was last night, when Prince Charmless so elegantly rejected my request for a ride home. Or was it this morning, when he saw me in my wedding dress and looked as if he was about to throw up? I'm sure if I give it 5 more minutes, I'll have another example to choose from. Gage and I are silent. The major uncorks the bottle and pours. He informs us our waiter will be over soon, then disappears as I'm shooting my champagne, like I'm in a competition for an all-expenses-paid trip to Hawaii. When I set my empty glass down, Gage says, "You always drink so much." "Ah, yes. He saw me boozing up last night too, right before I wobbled over to his table. No wonder he looks at me with such... whatever it is." "No, actually," I say, trying to look ladylike as I blot my lips on my napkin. "Only on 2 days a year." He cocks a brow, waiting for an explanation. In an ashtray next to his left elbow, his cigar sends up lazy wafts of smoke into the air. "Are you even allowed to smoke in here?" As if that would stop him, I glance away from the dark pull of his eyes. It's a long story. Even though I'm not looking at him, his attention is a force I can physically feel on my body, in my stomach, on my skin. I close my eyes and slowly exhale, trying to steady my nerves. Then, blame it on the buzz. I jump off the cliff in front of me. Today was supposed to be my wedding day. After an oddly tense pause, he prompts, "Supposed to be." I clear my throat, knowing that my cheeks are red and there's nothing I can do about it. My fiancé disappeared. That was 5 years ago. I haven't seen him since. What the hell? He'd find out from someone soon enough, anyway. Diane Myers was probably has probably already mailed him a handwritten essay about the whole thing. When he remains silent, I glance over at him. He's sitting perfectly still in his chair, his gaze steady on mine. His expression reveals nothing, but there's a new tension in his body, a new hardness in his already stony jaw, which is when I remember that he's a recent widower. I've just stuck my foot in my mouth, hand over my heart. I breathe. Oh, I'm sorry. That was thoughtless of me. His brows draw together in a quizzical frown. It's obvious he doesn't know what I mean. Because of your situation. He sits forward in his chair, folds his arms on the tabletop, and leans closer to me. Eyes glittering, he says quietly, "Which situation is that?" God, this guy is scary, big, hot, and really scary. But mostly hot. No, scary. Shit, I think I'm drunk. Maybe I'm wrong. I just assumed. Assumed what? That when you saw me in my wedding dress, that you're new to town and you seem very, a little, how would I say, not angry exactly, but more like upset. That perhaps you were, maybe suffering from a recent loss. Feeling pathetic, I trail off into silence. His stare is so hard and searching it might as well be an interrogation spotlight. Then his look clears and he sits back in his chair. You thought I was married. There's a definite hint of laughter in his tone. Yes, specifically a widower. I've never been married, never been divorced, don't have a dead wife. I see. I don't see. Not one bit. But what else can I say? So sorry, my best friend and I are conspiracy theorists and spent the entire lunch obsessing over you. No, definitely can't say that. Also on the list of prohibited topics, if you don't have a dead wife, why did you freak out when you saw me in my wedding dress? Why do you look at me like you want to run me over with your car, but turn around and give me such beautiful compliments, then hate yourself for giving them? But last but not least, what's up with the punching bag? At a loss for what else to do or say, I pat my lips with my napkin again. Well, I apologise, it's none of my business anyway. Very softly, Cage says, isn't it? His tone suggests that it is. Now I'm even more flustered. I mean, no. Is that a question? A faint smile lifts on the one corner of his mouth. His eyes have warmed, and there are tiny crinkle lines about them. Wait, is he mocking me? I say icily, I'm not in the mood to play games. Still, with that low, suggestive tone, he says, I am. His gaze drops to my mouth. He sinks his teeth into his full lower lip. In a wave, heat rushes up my neck to my ears where it settles, throbbing. I grab the champagne bottle and attempt to pour champagne into my glass. His hands are shaking so badly. My hands are shaking so badly. However, it spills down the sides of the flute and onto the tablecloth. Cage removes the bottle from his hand. Nope, he doesn't. Cage removes the bottle from my hand, takes the glass, and finishes pouring, all while wearing an expression very close to a smoke. It's not a real smoke, mind you, because that would require smiling. He hands me the champagne flute. I say breathlessly, thank you, and toss it back. When I set the empty glass back on the table, he turns businesslike. I think we got off on the wrong foot. Let's start over. Oh, look, he's being reasonable. I wonder which personality this is. He sticks out his baseball mitt of a hand. Hi, I'm Cage. Nice to meet you. Feeling like I'm in an alternate universe, I slip my hand into his. Then down. I'll ever get it back because it's lost somewhere inside his warm, rough, palm, or however it's pronounced. What would it be like to have those hands on my naked body? Cage, I repeat faintly, struck by the vivid mental image of him running his huge hands all over my naked flesh. I flush all the way down to my toes. Is that your first name or your last name? Both. Of course it is. Hi Cage, I'm Natalie. Pleased to meet you. Natalie, may I call you Nat? He's breaking out the manners, I see, and he still hasn't let go of my hand, and I still can't banish that image of him fondling me elsewhere as I writhe and moan and beg him for more. Of course. Please don't let him notice that my nipples are hard. Please, please don't let him notice. Why the hell didn't I wear a bra? He says pleasantly. So what do you do for a living, Nat? I'm a teacher of art at middle school. I could also be an escapee from a mental institution. I'll let you know in a minute. Right after the throbbing between my legs settles down and the blood returns to my head. What is wrong with me? I don't even like this guy. And you? I'm a collector. That surprises me. He could have said contract killer and I would have just nodded. Oh, like antiques or something. His pressure on my hand is firm and steady. His gaze is also steady. He looks into my eyes and answers, no, like debts. I think I'm going to leave it there. We're up to chapter 6. I can't believe we read that much. For any of you who have just joined, we are reading Ruthless Creatures by J.T. I'm going to say Geissinger because I don't know how to pronounce it. And it's the first book in her Queens and Monsters novel. So I'm going to jump off for tonight. If you got portions of this or you want to listen to it again, I will post it on the YouTube channel. But for now, I'm going to leave it here. Keep an eye on my profile and I will post when we're going to go live again. Hopefully tomorrow night, but we'll see what the neighbourhood's like because ours can be a bit noisy. Have an absolutely amazing night, everyone. Thank you for joining in. I can't wait to see you all for chapter 6 and beyond. I'll see you all